What's up gamers, Lecture here at the Diablo 4 build guide on Ice Shards Sorcerer. Sorcerer is my first character for the launch of Diablo 4, and I've spent a lot of time playtesting all the builds in the previous beta tests. Ice Shards is the best build for the endgame, especially for speed farming nightmare dungeons. It has fast movement with teleport, freeze to stop enemies, defensive skills for barrier and immunity, and high burst damage to kill quickly. Even though Ice Shards excels once the full setup is put together, it isn't the best build for starting a brand new character. I recommend our Arc Lash build as a starter, which you can find in the Sorcerer leveling guide on Icy Veins. This written guide has everything you need to get to level 50 on a brand new Sorcerer. The Ice Shards build can be switched to shortly after getting into Word Tier 3, but make sure you collect the required sacred items beforehand. My Icy Veins guide has a priority list for each item slot, with the important stats bolded. The playstyle for this build revolves around freezing enemies with Frost Nova to activate the auto-casted Ice Shards enchantment, which is why cooldown reduction is so important. There is no basic attack in this build to generate mana, so we need maximum mana, mana cost reduction, and lucky hit chance to restore primary resource. Firebolt is equipped in the other enchantment slot. The burning damage from this is insignificant, but it activates Devouring Blaze for Ice Shards to deal more critical strike damage, as well as burning effects from Paragon. The skill tree starts with 2 points into Firebolt to put into the enchantment slot, and as a prerequisite to unlock the next core skill cluster. 5 points are put into Ice Shards because it's our main damage dealer. Start off with Greater Ice Shards, and then switch to Destructive Ice Shards once you have about 100% vulnerable damage. The damage of Ice Shards is increased with Elemental Dominance, Glass Cannon, Devouring Blaze, Permafrost, Hoarfrost, and Icy Touch. 4 defensive skills are put on the skill bar. Flame Shield can be used reactively for the immunity, or preemptively before you cast Ice Shards for the 25% mana cost reduction. Teleport is a CC break and provides a rather large 30% damage reduction. Ice Armor provides our largest barrier, but also doubles as a resource gain with 25% mana regeneration. Frost Nova is the core defensive skill used to apply Freeze and Vulnerable. Elemental Attunement is a 1-point wonder skill for the defensive skill reset every 10 seconds. All these cooldowns also activate Protection, which is important to activate Greater Ice Shards, Conceited Aspect, and Aspect of Fortune. I cannot stress enough how important it is to make constant use of these cooldowns to help with your resource management, survival, and damage. Mana Shield provides some much needed damage reduction. This build utilizes some lucky hit effects, so Precision Magic is allocated for Frigid Breeze and Avalanche. Deep Freeze is the final skill on the skill bar. It can be saved for emergencies as an oh shit button when you're in trouble, or used offensively as another freeze when Frost Nova is on cooldown. The 50% reduction on active cooldowns synergizes well with our defensive skills, and Deep Freeze can be cancelled right away just to reduce cooldowns. There are some alternative skills that can replace Deep Freeze. Check the list to see the other options, but the default skill tree is what I believe to be the best setup for general farming. The best in slot aspects are listed in the written guide. Offensive aspects that provide the biggest damage increases are prioritized in all 6 slots possible. Resource aspects replace offensive aspects in the ring slot, causing you to lose a lot of damage. So solving mana problems with gear and Paragon is preferred. Aspect of Control is put on the amulet slot for a 50% bonus effect because it provides the most damage. It can be activated 3 separate times against enemies that are frozen, stunned, or immobilized. Staggered bosses count as being affected by all 3 status effects, activating all 3 separate multipliers at once. The 50% bonus means this can roll up to 53% increased damage on an amulet. And if we apply all 3 separate damage multipliers, this means we are doing 3.5 times more damage. I didn't think Frostblitz's aspect was worth using because it increases the cooldown of Frost Nova by 30%, but after testing it I noticed that the cooldown reduction on Enhanced Frost Nova was double dipping with 2 charges. This means every enemy killed while frozen by Frost Nova is reducing the cooldown by 2 seconds, up to 8 seconds per cast. If this interaction is a bug, hopefully it doesn't just get removed without reducing the cooldown penalty on Frostblitz's aspect to compensate. If you get lucky enough to find Raiment of the Infinite, you can do the Telestomp version of the Ice Shards build. This speed farm variant is included at the bottom of the written guide. Frostbolt enchantment gets replaced by the Teleport Evade, which works with the boot implicit effect, attacks reduce evades cooldown. This allows us to teleport often to zoom through dungeons, sucking up enemies and stunning them. Another benefit to the Telestomp variant is less dependency on Frost Nova, as most enemies can be killed with just the stun, and the freeze can be reserved for tougher elites. Raiment of the Infinite can be dropped in Word Tier 3 or 4, but it has a lower drop rate than most uniques. Keep farming Nightmare Dungeons with the original version of the build until it drops for you. The Paragon setup takes a while to go over, so I made a separate video for it. Be sure to watch that video next, linked in the description below. That's all I have for this video. Be sure to visit my guides on Icy Veins, ask questions in our Discord servers, or come by the live stream to come hang out. Peace out and happy slaying.